All right, we are now streaming live on YouTube. Today is February the 12th, 2025. Mr. Jackson, we're about to start your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus Christopher Jackson, charged in warrant numbers 2025 WA 71069. That's simple battery family violence. 2025 WA 71070, criminal damage in the second degree. 2025 WA 71079, aggravated assault. And 2025 WA 71080, battery family violence. Representing the state is ADA Thomas. Representing the defendant, Attorney Boulware. Your witness, ADA Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Officer Clayton, can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence you shall present this morning shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down and please state your name for the record.
I am Officer Clayton.
How are you employed, officer?
I'm sorry.
How are you employed?
I'm Officer Clayton with the Clayton County Police Department.
Were you so employed on January the 21st, 2025?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to respond to a 904 Carrington Park?
Yes.
Is that within the confines of the city of Jonesboro, Clayton County?
It is.
What brought you to that location and what brought you into contact with Christopher Jackson?
I responded to a call for domestic violence or domestic disturbance call at the address. Upon arriving to the address, I made contact with the caller complainant, a female, and she appeared to be very upset, very distraught. She claimed and
Let me stop you right quick. Do you recall the name of the female?
I was trying to actually pull the information up now. We're having problems with our CAD, and for some reason it's not pulling up like it should. And I apologize to the court for that.
Just do the best you can with what you got. Now you encountered a female?
Yes.
And what did she advise?
The female caller complainant advised that Christopher Jackson, Mr. Christopher Jackson, had assaulted her. She stated that he also choked her to the point to where she couldn't breathe, or she could barely breathe. She also stated that Christopher Jackson, because he was upset about the home not being cleaned upon his arrival, that he brought food and threw food all up against the walls and in the foyer of the home. She alleged that Christopher Jackson punched holes in the wall as well. Upon observation, I saw the food splatters throughout several rooms in the home. And I also saw property damage to the walls and doors throughout the home as well, which actually corroborated the story that the home occupant stated previously.
Did you see anything about her person?
Yes, I also saw, she also stated that Christopher Jackson struck her to the mouth with a closed fist. Upon observation, I did, and I took photos of it, a bleeding cut to the lower lip of the female.
Did she have any other signs of injury about her person?
The pictures showed that from the choking, I took photos. It did appear that she had some marking or marks on the to the side of her neck.
Hold on, officer. Yeah, I keep hearing something, and I thought it was just me going crazy, but I don't think it is. Do you hear something?
I'm going to mute the jail.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Generally, that's it. Okay, you're welcome.
Go ahead, officer.
Yeah, so I did get a chance to see some markings to the side of the complainant's neck, what appeared to be discoloration, which would be consistent with her being choked.
Did she indicate specifically who left the choke marks? No, well, let me back up. Let me rephrase the question. When you say choke marks, what did you see specifically?
So the discoloration from her skin, it showed redness in the same area in which she pointed around her neck. She said that he did choke her with both hands. And according to my observation, I was able to differentiate and see that it was redness to around her neck.
Did it appear to be fingerprints or anything, or was it just bruising?
It was just it was a redness, a discoloration from her normal skin tone.
And
And to,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, and also to corroborate, because she had a witness that was present at that time, and taking statements from the witness that was there. The witness also corroborated her story. I actually spoke with the witness separate from the female caller complainant, and she corroborated her story to the letter.
Were you able to pull up your report?
I'm trying.
Okay.
We've been having problem with the RMS, and it was down for a while, and right now we're trying to get it back online. So,
but you recall that there was a victim who was displayed injuries, and there was another person. The other person that was present, were they present during the entire incident?
Yes, they were.
And did the defendant do anything to that person?
Yes, according to the witness also stated that the defendant pushed and shoved her as well.
Did either of the victim or the witness, well, I guess they're both victims at this point, did either one indicate why the defendant did this, or if there was a reason?
Both upon speaking to both of them, both victims stated that it was because Mr. Jackson was upset about the home not being clean prior to him, prior to his arrival. And upon his arrival, when he got there, she stated, the victims stated that they were in the process of getting ready to clean the home. But he, according to them, he obviously had a hard day, and I think that's I think that was subjective. That was just them saying, because you can't really tell unless he expressed to them that he was upset or he had a rough day at work. But upon his arrival to the home, according to both victims, they stated that he just started cussing and becoming very belligerent. He was loud and began cussing them. And at this point, the food that he had brought in or that he had purchased for the occupants of the home, which included both victims, he at some point in time engaged in a verbal argument, which led to him throwing the food, and then thus at that point choking the victim, the female victim number one. Upon doing so, female victim number two tried to intervene and get him to stop his attack and/or battery upon the victim one. But
okay, let me ask you a question, officer. I hate to interrupt you. Did you come into contact with the defendant at the scene? Was he there?
No, at that point, the defendant had already fled the home, and it was a short time later, upon him returning to the home, and the victims called back to 911. They alerted us that the defendant was back at the home, and that's when we went back to the home and we made contact with Mr. Jackson.
Okay, when you say we, are you talking about yourself?
I made contact with Mr. Jackson. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's clear. And did he make any statements to you as to what happened earlier in the day between himself and the two victims?
At this time, upon speaking with Mr. Jackson and trying to get his side of the story, Mr. Jackson did state that upon his coming home, uh, uh, he noticed that the home was not clean, and that made him upset at that point. According to Mr. Jackson, he did corroborate that because he was angry and upset that he punched holes in the wall. And according to him, Mr. Jackson stated that the female complainant and victim was the one that actually threw the food against the wall.
Okay, now just so we can distinguish, there are two females on the premises, correct?
That's correct.
Which one threw the food?
So according to Mr. Jackson, the first female, not the witness, the main female who was being choked, she was the one that stated that according to Mr. Jackson, that's who he was referencing, saying that she was the one that actually threw the food because of the argument that they had.
Did he have any thing to say about the confrontation he had with the second victim?
Yes, he did corroborate and said that he did push her. He did push her and that was upon his own statement. He pushed her and he told her that she could get out of his home. And upon further discovery, that second female was actually residing in the home as well. And I'm
both
trying
females live there? Hold on, officer. Both females live there?
That's correct.
Okay.
And looking at this, also, it should be notated as well.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. There's no question. This officer is just testifying at a narrative at this point.
Sustained. Officer, you can't just begin speaking. You have to be asked a question. You have to be responding to a question, right?
I understand, Your Honor.
No.
Now, officer, it appears your report is available now.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry.
You still don't have it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall the name of the victims at this point?
I'm sorry. I can't recall the name of the victims at this particular junction. Please forgive me. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. But that information is provided in your report?
It is provided in my report.
And let me ask you another question. Were you equipped with body cam at the time?
Yes.
And did everything that you just testified to the court to, is that commemorated on that body cam footage?
It is.
Were you also able to commemorate on the footage on the damage to the home?
Yes.
Do you know if there's any other video available, Ring camera, anything like that?
Not in the home at that time, and I did ask.
Okay. Was the victim able to give you any idea of the estimated value of the damage or what it would cost to repair the damage?
Yes, the victim did.
And what was that amount? Do you recall? If it was over $500?
It was over, the victim did state that it was over $500.
And that's holes in the wall, if I'm not mistaken?
That's including, yes, there was holes in the walls and the doors as well.
More than one door or just one?
It was actually more than one door.
He kicked them in or he punched them in, or was it a combination?
According to her, he punched the holes in the wall and in the doors.
And I believe that's all I have with the officer reserve right to redirect.
All right, Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, is this An apartment, a house? What is this residence?
It's an apartment dwelling.
And did you speak to management with regards to the residence in that apartment?
Not at the time that we arrived because it was after hours.
Okay. At any point in time after this incident, did you speak to management?
No, I didn't.
And did you call and request maintenance to arrive at the incident to observe the damage?
At that time, no.
So you don't have any estimate of the damage from the actual owners or representatives of that property?
That's correct, ma'am.
And are you aware that that apartment belongs to Mr. Jackson?
According to him, yes. And the both stated that they both reside there. And according to the female defendant, I'm sorry, the female victim, her name is on the lease as well. That was her statement.
And did you ask Mr. Jackson if either one of the females' names are listed on the lease?
Mr. Jackson told me that both females were residing in the home as well.
Okay, but my question was, did you ask Mr. Jackson if both females' names were listed on the lease with the apartment complex?
No, I did not ask that question.
When you spoke to Mr. Jackson, did you read him his Miranda warning?
Yes, I did.
And did he acknowledge and waive his rights before he spoke to you?
Yes, he did, because he made the statement.
So yes, he
That's how
did.
he went into depth. Yes.
And that is recorded on your body worn camera.
It's on my camera. It's on my body worn camera for reading him his Miranda rights. Yes.
And his full statement to you is on your body worn camera as well?
His statements to me is on my body camera. You're right. Correct.
Did the two alleged victims provide written statements?
Yes, they did.
And the damage that you are testifying about, is that memorialized in any way?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
The damage that you testified about, is that memorialized in any way?
So please explain to me, what do you mean when you state
Video, photographs?
Yes.
Yes to both? Yes to one? Which one?
Yes, I did take photographs.
And with regards to asking the alleged victim about the damage, did she give any indication as to her level of expertise to determine the value or the estimate for the damage that you're alleging that my client caused?
She did not give me, she did not state previously that she had any expertise in evaluating the cost and or damage that was done inside the apartment home. She only stated that it was going to cost well over $500. As a matter of fact, she stated that it would be upward $1,000.
But you don't have any information as to the basis for how she reached that conclusion?
No, I don't.
Did you ask her about her work history or give any indication from anybody in that location as to how she would be able to establish that estimate?
No.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have at this time, Your Honor.
Okay.
You need to redirect.
Also, I believe you were asked about who actually resides at the residence.
Yes.
And you were able to establish that the victim actually both lived there, but one was definitely on the lease.
I'm good.
Yes. Both victims both victims, I'm sorry, one of the victims did state that the main victim and caller, uh, which was the one that was alleging that she was being choked, she said that her name was on the lease and that the other female wasn't also an occupant of the home.
Did either victim indicate that he had their permission to physically assault them?
No, it was unwanted.
And did either victim indicate that he had their permission to damage? I understand that, well, let me rephrase the question, it's a little confusing. The defendant indicated he was the person who was on the lease?
Yes, he did tell me that that the lease was in his name.
Did the other person who was on the lease give their permission for him to put holes in the walls and the doors?
No, they did not.
Yeah, I believe that's all I have, officer.
All right, closing arguments. Attorney Thomas.
Yeah, if I can say something, not directly related to this case, it's just something I just want the court to know. I was just on the phone with another one of my officers. Apparently, they're having IT issues with the computers because she's having the same problems that Officer Clayton is having as far as pulling up report. I just want the court to know.
Okay, all right, noted.
And I will reserve, y'all.
All right, Attorney Boulware.
Yeah, I believe that for the most part, the state has established probable cause on everything but the criminal damage. I would ask the court to reduce that to criminal trespass. The officer is taking the estimate from the alleged victim. There's absolutely nothing to establish that she would have any level of knowledge, let alone expertise, on with regards to any of the alleged damage in that apartment. The officer testified that he did not ask her about her employment. He's not aware of any of, if she's a construction worker or she has any experience with regards to that area. So I would ask that the court reduce that particular warrant to criminal trespass. And we would submit on the remaining charges.
All righty. ADA Thomas, you want to respond to that?
Yes, Sharon, and just to that charge, I believe the offenses is submitted on the remaining charges.
Yes.
You know, the officer not only was able to interview the victim, who was able to give her best estimate as to the damage amount, but he was also able to observe the extent of damages around the home, multiple walls apparently and multiple doors. He brings his own life experience and observations to the table.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. There were no questions asked of the officer about his life experience with regards to the damage to this property.
I understand that. However, the officer doesn't come in there as a blank slate. So
what is a blank slate? Say that again.
He doesn't come in there absent knowledge of his own. He
Okay.
did have the opportunity to observe the extent of the damages to the property. Had he felt what he saw was a misdemeanor amount, it is my understanding that is what he would have charged him with. However, based on
again, there was no questions asked to the officer with regards to his personal knowledge, experience, ability, perception with regards to the value of the damage.
And I will concede that. However, Your Honor, as the court was well aware, if the officer did not feel it was a felony amount, it would not be my impression that he would have charged it as such. So based on his observations and based on the statement of the victim at the scene, state would ask that that charge also be transferred as a felony.
Okay, all righty. So I believe that a lay person in this case can go ahead and look at that and make a determination as to the value of the property that was damaged. So I'm going to bind all the charges over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Clayton, thank you. You're excused.
Thank
And
you.
then we're going to go ahead and start the next hearing.
Judge, this is the case where ADA said she was not opposed to bond hearing after the preliminary hearing, if the court would allow it.
Okay. All right. Can we have another hearing and then we'll do that right after that hearing? Is that okay?
Stand with me, Your Honor. I don't need the officer for that.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Is there a time that I could come back to speak to Mr. Gary at the jail? I understand we're doing the hearings now, but can I come back at a later time?
All right, well, how about this? Hold on. We'll go ahead and go in the breakout room, and then I will put you in there with the jail very quickly, all right?
Thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to cut or anything in front of the hearings, Judge.
All right, no worries.
Thank you.
And Judge, good morning again. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm having trouble with my audio. This is Attorney Taylor on Mr. Red. Judge, we did not get the paperwork. And I've emailed Ms. Thomas. I know she's busy. But if they could resend the paperwork for us to sign the waiver and consent bond on Mr. Red, we can get that done.
I thought earlier you were sending it to ADA Thomas. Is that
I
correct?
haven't received anything from you.
Yes, Judge. What we got was an email from her that her assistant was sending it, but we don't have any record of getting it. That's why we didn't send it back. We don't have it.
Okay. ADA Thomas, do you know what paperwork she's referring to?
It would be the
The
consent
amounts are?
bond paperwork, the consent bond paperwork and the waiver, Your Honor. And I'm looking through my emails. I don't see it either. So
Who was supposed to put it together? Who was supposed to compose it?
it would come from a legal assistant, Your Honor. So
Oh,
I'll
okay.
talk with
Okay.
her. So Miss Taylor, if you can stand by, and I do apologize.
No problem. No problem. If you just email it to me, then we
Okay.
can get, and I'll log back on. We'll complete it and I'll log back on to indicate we've gotten it and send it back.
I appreciate your patience.
Thank you. No problem. No problem. Thank y'all.
And Attorney Bower and ADA Thomas, if y'all can join me in room 1, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Mr. Jackson. Hey, y'all, what we doing with Mr. Jackson? Is he good to go? She wanted to break. I don't even know. Say, they gotta put you back in.
Judge, I have an update for the court.
You need somebody else? Oh, okay, let's wait. Thank you. If the court's back, I have an update on Mr. Gray.
Mr. Ray.
That's going to be a bond waiver, Judge.
Mhm. Does that conclude your business?
It does, Your Honor.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Any other announcements? And then Deputy, the next hearing we're gonna have is Mr. McGraw. Adonis McGraw. If you can bring him forward, please. And Attorney Pleasant, Attorney Bower, can you put on that order a stay away and a no return?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Hmm?
I just received a notification that my legal assistant's gonna have to step out and someone is gonna be covering for her. She's had death in the family. So I'm gonna have to coordinate with the person filling in for her, but hopefully everything should be done today.
You're gonna have to do what? I'm sorry, I had to
I'm
interrupt.
gonna have to coordinate with the legal assistant that is filling in for her to let her know what she might have missed earlier.
Okay, so ADA Thomas, you can't do them as we're having court today?
The consent bonds,
Right.
Your Honor, I know how to do part of it, but I don't know how to do the other half, and I'm thinking I'm gonna be learning how to do it real soon.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful.
It would be, yes, Your Honor. But in the meantime, I just want to let the court know what was going on right now.
Okay. Well, regardless, we need those orders today. All right. All right. So, Mr. McGraw. All righty, so I'm going to go ahead and call this case so we can start this hearing.
I believe the officer's logged on.
Is that Officer Alexander?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All righty, McGraw only has one charge, correct?
Yeah, well, actually, Your Honor, this is an armed robbery case, so he has two.
I think the second charge was denied. That was the license, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's only one charge today.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, now calling the matter State of Georgia versus Adonis McRae. Warrant number 2025 WA 71049, armed robbery representing the state. ADA Thomas representing the defendant is defense attorney Bower. Your witness, ADA Thomas.
Officer Alexander, I need for you to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence you shall present before the court today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down, state your name for the record.
Officer Shaquille Alexander,
How you employed, officer?
Plain County Police Department.
Were you so employed on January the 20th of 2025?
Yes.
And on that date, did you come into contact with an Adonis McRae?
Yes.
And do you recall where you came into contact with Mr. McRae?
The call was in reference to a robbery.
Did you in fact did you come into contact with the victim or the person who made the call?
Yes.
Do you recall where this happened?
Yes, the robbery occurred at 1081 Garden Walk Boulevard.
Is that within the confines of the city of College Park?
Yeah, College Park, but it's Clayton County. Yes.
Okay. Now, you in fact responded to the scene, correct?
Yes,
Did you speak to the victim?
I did.
Do you recall the name of the victim?
The victim's name is Mr. German Escobar Ramos.
What did Mr. Ramos tell you what happened?
Okay, he advised that he called the police about 15 minutes after the actual robbery occurred. When he got home, he advised that he met with Mr. Adonis and some other person in reference to purchasing a PlayStation 5 from a marketplace that he was selling. The PlayStation was for sale for $275, and they agreed to meet at 1081 Garden Walk Boulevard
What's located there?
apartment complex.
Was it the victim's home or
No, it was not.
did the defendant live in that complex?
I don't believe he did.
Okay. So what happened when the victim got to 1080 Garden Walk Boulevard?
Okay, when the victim got to that location, he advised the accused was in a 2014 Chrysler. Both males were wearing all black.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I believe the officer, are you reading from your report?
I'm just referring.
Okay,
you can
I would
read
ask
the
that he not,
report. Yes. Now, if you want to refresh your recollection,
Okay,
you can do that once ADA Thomas asks you a question. If you want to refresh your recollection, you can do that, but you can't read from the report. All right?
gotcha.
All
Yep.
right.
Okay, officer. So when the victim arrived at the location, no, let me back up a little bit. The sale was arranged over Facebook, is that correct?
Correct.
And did the defendant provide the victim with a description of the person he's supposed to look for?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, did the victim advise you as to what did happen how did he know when he got to the scene who to look for?
I didn't get that information from the victim, but obviously he probably did give a description as to what car and what to look for.
Did the victim come into contact with this defendant?
Yes.
Okay. What happened when the two came into contact with each other?
The victim provided the money, the cash to the driver who was Mr. Adonis, and I believe Mr. Adonis told him to go to the driver's side to actually get the actual product. When he got to that side, I believe that's when the passenger had a gun and pointed to him, and they drove off with the money and the said product.
Was there ever a PlayStation 5? Did the victim ever see it?
I don't believe he's seen it.
Did he ever get it?
No, he never got the PlayStation.
What did the victim do after they drove off?
The victim was able to take a picture of the license plate and drove home, and then that's when he called 911.
Did the victim get any other identifying information? Or was he able to provide any other identifying information?
Yeah, he advised dispatch that the two males were wearing all black.
Okay. And was the vehicle located?
Yes, the vehicle was located because the victim was able to get a tag. We was able to go on our system, look at who the vehicle came back to. The vehicle actually came back to Mr. Adonis's girlfriend. We made contact with her, and she wasn't able at the time to get in contact with him, but we then located the vehicle on our flock system.
Okay, let me back up a little bit. So the vehicle came back to someone who identified herself as this defendant's girlfriend.
Yes.
Did she advise as to what was going on with the car or who had her car?
She advised that Adonis was driving her car. She advised she didn't know actually what business he was doing. She just knew he had his car.
Well, did she know whether or not there was anyone else in the car with him?
She did.
Was the car eventually located?
Yes.
How was the car located?
The car was located by our block system. We then me and other units were able to kind of box it in, and then we found it in a neighborhood. I can't recall the exact address, but
Was Mr. McRae in the car?
yes.
Was he the driver?
Yes.
Did he indicate was he able to make any statements, or did he make any statements to you all regarding what happened with the victim?
Yes, after reading him Miranda, he advised that he was supposed to sell the PlayStation to the victim. He advised the victim had someone in his vehicle as well. He said for whatever reason that spooked him, which made him drive off.
Did he indicate whether or not he still had the victim's money?
He did.
And were you all able to search the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
Did you find a PlayStation or anything else in there?
No, ma'am.
Was the victim's money recovered?
No, ma'am.
Did the defendant indicate to you all what happened to the money?
It was not to me. There was other officers assisting me on the case, so I can't recall if he spoke to another officer, but not to me.
Were any weapons found in the car?
No.
Did you take Mr. McRae back for the victim to identify him?
Yes.
Was the victim able to identify him?
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, you indicated no PlayStation, no money, and no gun were recovered?
Correct.
And if I may have 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got it. Did the defendant indicate what happened to the passenger, the other person that was in the car with him?
He advised the passenger ran off.
Did he say where?
He advised he possibly ran to his home, his or her home.
And were you all able to make contact with that person?
No. He, if I may add, he advised that the passenger was his friend, and that he did not know his friend's actual gender because he referred to her as a female, then he referred to him as a male. She was like, but he
Wait a minute,
advised that
stop, officer, hold on. He didn't know the gender of his friend that was riding in the car with him.
he was not clear. He was not
Did he
clear.
know the name of the person that was in the car with him?
No, he said the person was his friend and he only knew their street name,
What was that?
Swipe.
And he did not know whether his friend was male or female.
Objection, asked and answered.
Thank you.
I move on.
I'm sorry, I missed the was it?
No, hold on, officer. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. So the defendant did acknowledge knowing the victim.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
This defendant acknowledged knowing the victim.
No, he did not know the victim.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase. He acknowledged that there was supposed to be a transaction between himself and the victim, not that they
Yes.
were friends.
Right.
Okay. Now, officer, are you on a cell phone or are you on the computer screen?
Computer.
You have a computer?
Yes.
Okay. The person that you came into contact with on January 20th, do you see them in court today?
Yes.
Could you identify them by physical appearance or article of clothing?
Yes. Black male, short, black hair, orange jumpsuit.
Okay. And this is the person who admitted driving off with the victim's money.
Yes.
Now that's all I have. A reserved right for redirect.
All right. Cross.
The officer, the location where this alleged incident took place, what is located at that address?
Apartments.
And at the apartments, did you or any officers do any canvass of that area for the video?
No, ma'am.
So there's no video, to your knowledge, of this alleged incident?
Correct. If I may go back, there was other officers assisting me, but I did not obtain any video. No.
Okay, so that was my question, if you or any other officer, to your knowledge?
No. Yes, to my
To your
knowledge.
knowledge, there's no video
Correct.
obtained by anyone in law enforcement associated with this case that's
Correct.
been added to the report for this case?
Correct.
What time of day did this alleged incident take place?
Around 3:00 or so.
Is that AM or PM, officer?
PM.
Okay. And with this being an apartment complex, did you or any other officers canvass for any eyewitnesses to this incident?
No.
Okay. Did the alleged victim indicate that there were people around when this allegedly occurred in the apartment complex on the grounds?
I don't recall.
Did you yourself actually see the Facebook Marketplace ad with regards to this PlayStation?
I did.
Did you request to see it?
Yeah, the victim showed me the messages on his phone.
Wait,
Okay,
hold
so
on,
you did
guys.
see it.
Looks
Okay, I
like
misunderstood.
we lost the jail. Hold on. All right. Continue.
And has that information been uploaded to your system for your report?
No.
So the ad that's the basis for the meeting you did not include in your report? Okay.
No, ma'am.
Your conversation with the alleged victim in this case, was that memorialized?
Yes.
Okay. You wear a body worn camera or you recorded with your cell phone?
Body worn camera.
And how did you contact the registered vehicle owner in this case?
Via phone.
Was that conversation recorded?
I don't recall.
And was your body worn camera activated when you came into contact with Mr. McGraw?
Yes,
So I believe you testified you read him his Miranda.
I did.
What was his response when you read the Miranda?
That he would go forth in questioning and talk.
With regards to his rights, what was his response?
That he will speak to me without a lawyer present.
Did he indicate if he understood his rights, sir?
Yes, he did.
And specifically, what did he say about the money in this case?
He said he took the money in his hand and yeah, he said he took the money.
So the alleged victim voluntarily handed him the money
Correct.
in exchange for the money that was agreed upon for the PlayStation.
Correct.
Did Mr. McGraw make any other statements with regards to the money?
He advised that he was trying to return the money after the fact, prior to him getting spooked because the other person had another person in the car with him.
Okay, but to be clear, the alleged victim handed over the money,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mr. McGraw saw the second person and became spooked and
Yeah,
wanted to cancel the transaction.
and drove off. Correct.
And is that conform with what the alleged victim said?
No.
At what point is the alleged victim advising he turned over the money?
Repeat the question again.
When is the alleged victim saying he handed Mr. McGraw the money?
You're asking when
Yeah.
did he,
Yes.
when he first got there,
So go over again what you stated on direct.
Mhm.
The alleged victim arrives, hands Mr. McGraw the money, and then what happens?
He asked him to, Mr. Adonis asked him to walk to the passenger side of the vehicle.
So the alleged victim gives Mr. McGraw the money and then walks over to the passenger side of the vehicle.
Correct.
And then what happens then?
That's where he was supposed to get the PlayStation, but the victim advised the passenger had a gun and pointed it to him.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, any redirect?
Officer,
Yes.
you had, just following up on, I believe there's some questions regarding possible video. You were equipped with body cam, correct?
Correct.
Your interactions with the defendant, were they all captured on your body cam?
Yes.
There were other officers at the scene.
Correct.
Was their body cam operational to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Would they have captured what was going on at the scene also?
Correct. Yes.
Now, the apartment complex itself, do you know if it had camera or video?
I don't know if it did.
So you all didn't check to see if they had anything that might have captured what happened?
I went to the victim, and then there was other officers that went to the actual scene. So I don't.
So you don't know if it does?
I don't.
Okay. And did the victim indicate there was anyone else with him?
No.
No, there was no one else with him, or no, he didn't say if he did or he didn't?
No, he didn't say there was or there wasn't.
Okay. But the defendant acknowledged there was somebody with him,
Correct.
and that person ran off.
Correct.
And he admitted the interaction with himself and the victim.
Correct.
Yeah, that's all I have, officer.
All righty. Closing arguments.
Yeah, I will reserve to the end.
Attorney Bower, go ahead.
Your Honor, I would ask the court to dismiss the armed robbery charge in this case. The officer's testimony is that when the alleged victim arrived, he turned over the cash for the PlayStation. It was at that time, after he handed over the cash to Mr. McGraw, that he was instructed to go around to enter the vehicle to get the PlayStation. And then the gun was displayed. So there was no taking at gunpoint from the alleged victim in this case, which is necessary to necessitate the armed robbery. So at this point, I would ask that this charge be dismissed.
All right, thank you. Attorney Thomas.
Yeah, state will concede this is not the normal way that armed robberies occur. However, in this case, the victim was under the impression that he would be receiving the PlayStation in exchange for his money. He apparently had no reservations about exchanging the money with the driver. However, the armed robbery occurs when they drive off after pointing a gun at this victim and not giving him what he thought he was buying. So where well, I'm not going to say normally, where in other situations the gun is presented and the money is taken, there was already an agreement for the exchange. It went south when the defendant and his passenger, rather than handing over a PlayStation, pointed a gun in this young man's face and drove off with his money. Your Honor, state would concede that this is sufficient for it to be construed as an armed robbery, and would ask the court to bind it over as such.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind this case over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, let's keep,
Free to go.
Thank you.
let's keep moving here.
Yeah, may I have an
who do we-
opportunity to run to the restroom right quick? I will be right back.
All right, and just tell me what officer we have available for our next case.
Your Honor, state would like to call is Mr. Lewis back?
I don't. Yes, I see he's on.
I would like to call Eric Ponder. This officer has been on all morning.
She like to call who, Judge?
Eric
Ponder.
Flounder. Okay, go ahead. That's fine.
All righty. And so, Deputy, if you could bring Mr. Ponder, we are done with Mr. McGraw.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your Honor, I'll be right back.
On that Canada case, I know you granted my motion. Did you grant the 24th of February?
Attorney Lewis, you're not muted.
I know I'm speaking to the judge. Or at least I think I am.
Yeah, the 24th is fine, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. And Maria, if you could go ahead and print that for my signature, please.
And what was the defendant's name again?
It was something starting with Kanai.
Yeah, Xavier Canada.
Yes. He emailed it this morning.
Oh, okay, he's not on our calendar, is he?
No, he's not. He's on
he's on-
2/17.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
And it's for March 24th?
Yes.
February 24th.
February 24th.
Okay.
Did you clear that the officer is available that day?
I have not, Judge.
Well, go ahead and put him on there. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I'm back.
All righty. Mr. Lewis, are you ready?
I am, Judge.
All right.
Officer Casimir?
Mr. Ponder just has, 1, 2, 3. He has 4 charges, correct?
That's what I
Yes,
should.
ma'am. Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
I just need
All
to
right,
get
Mr. Ponder, we're about to start your hearing. This is the State of Georgia versus Eric Ponder, 2025 WA 01300, criminal trespass, 2025 WA 01302, motor vehicle hijacking, 2025 WA 01303, battery, and 2025 WA 01304, criminal damage to property. Representing the state is Attorney ADA Thomas. Representing the defendant is Attorney Lewis. Your witness, ADA Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Officer Casimir, I need you to turn on your video and your audio. Officer Casimir. I'm gonna try to call him right quick.
All right. Attorney Tolles is trying to get in. Attorney Tolles, we just called the case, but we are waiting on an officer. Did you have an announcement to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. I was recently appointed to Ramon Blanton, and I needed to speak with Ms. Thomas. And
Judge, before we do that, I would ask that we take this matter up once we step offline.
Righty. No. Attorney Tolles, who are you representing?
Ramon Blanton.
Oh, okay. All righty. Oh, I see what you're saying, Attorney Lewis. All right.
Yes.
Let's hold tight, Attorney Tolles. We probably need to go in the breakout room about this case, all right?
I'm sorry, Judge, you're talking with me?
Yes. We'll probably go into a breakout room on this case, all right?
Okay, okay.
Once we finish this hearing. And so have we gotten the officer? No?
Yeah, I just tried to call him. It rolled up to the voicemail. I'm not sure if he's actually on a call or something, but he is definitely on. I'm looking at it. And I spoke with him earlier.
And who is this officer?
Casimir. He's on
He
here.
was here earlier. I saw
Yes,
him
he is.
earlier.
I'm still gonna say move to dismiss for want of a witness.
Of course you are, Attorney Murray. Of course you are. All right, what officer do we have sitting here ready to go?
Officer Johnson is here for, I think she's here for Mr. Lewis's other case, actually. Check. Yes, she's here for Mr. One of his other cases, David Delaney.
All right, I'm sorry, Deputy. Can you put Mr. Ponder back for just one moment? We're going to go ahead and do Delaney. And what officer, can we get that officer to go ahead and turn on his camera on to make sure he's prepared and ready?
She should be on. We just spoke. There she is.
Okay.
I'm
All
here.
right. Thank you, Officer Johnson.
Okay, so Ponder needs to stand by. You need Delaney.
He will be next. Yes, I think the officer is trying to get his device to work.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, so now we're doing David Delaney. All right, Mr.
I see
Delaney.
3, Judge. I see 3, just in case you're gonna ask that question.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to ask. 3 counts. All right, this is the State of Georgia versus David Delaney, charged in warrant number 2025 CW 70189. That's terroristic threats. 2025 CW 70191, aggravated assault. 2025 CW 70192, disorderly conduct. Representing the state is ADA Thomas. Representing the defendant is Attorney Lewis. Your witness, ADA Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Officer, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence you shall give before the court today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down, state your name for the record.
Officer India Johnson,
And officer, how are you employed?
Clayton County Police Department.
And were you so employed on the 15th day of January of 2025?
Yes, I am.
Now, did you have occasion to respond to a call at Southside Commercial Parkway?
Yes, ma'am.
What brought you to that location?
The victim, who is Herbert, I believe Herbert Smith, he called and said that Mr. Delaney threatened him with the firearm.
Do you know what happened? Did he give you any details as to how this threat occurred?
Yes, so Mr. Herbert and Mr. Delaney got into a verbal altercation at the McDonald's, I think a week prior to the incident. Yes, a week prior to the incident, and Mr. Herbert said that he was at his what was a hotel or motel. He was at the motel fixing him a coffee early morning, and Mr. Delaney approached him, said he wanted to fight. And Mr. Herbert said he did not, and he started walking away, and then Mr. Delaney approached him again and had the firearm out and threatened to shoot him.
Was Mr. Delaney still on the scene?
No, Mr. Delaney left the scene before we arrived.
Did you make contact with Mr. Delaney that day?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did the victim indicate to you, he indicated that there was a firearm involved. Did he indicate how that firearm was used? Was it pointed at him? What happened?
No, he did not point the gun at him. He just pulled it out, and he had the muzzle of the gun facing downward.
And did he indicate exactly how he was anticipating, exactly how he would kill the victim?
Objection, facts not in evidence.
repeat the
I'm
question?
asking the officer if the victim indicated to her what he would say, what was said.
No, that is not what you said. You said
Attorney Lewis, calm down. Calm down.
I'm not upset. I'm
Okay.
just clarifying the record.
No,
She said
you tell me what I said. I said to the
that's
officer, did he
that's
indicate?
exactly what I'm doing. I was telling you what you were saying.
Oh, okay. All right. We're not doing this. Attorney Thomas, go ahead and rephrase your question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Officer, did the victim indicate to you exactly what the defendant said to her regarding killing him?
Objection. Facts not in evidence.
What are you alleging is not in evidence?
Yeah.
The victim, the officer never said that the victims said that this person, whomever it is, wanted to kill anybody. That
That's
was
what
Miss
I'm asking
Thomas's
her.
interject.
That's what I'm asking. What exactly did he say?
Well, you see, okay, ADA Thomas, rephrase it because you actually said killing at the end as opposed to allowing the officer to say that.
Okay.
Let's just-
Officer, exactly what did the victim say to you?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. Go ahead, Attorney
Thank you.
ADA Thomas. Go ahead.
Exactly what did the victim say to you?
The victim said that Mr. Delaney said that he would shoot him.
Did the victim know why he wanted to shoot him?
I'm not sure. It was a previous altercation with the two a week prior.
And was someone else present when the defendant indicated that he would shoot the victim?
That's correct.
Do you recall the name of this other person that was there?
Her name was Ashley, and she was working at the front desk at the motel.
She was still on the scene when you arrived?
That's affirmative.
Was she able to confirm with you that she saw or heard what happened?
That's affirmative.
Did you have occasion at any point to talk to Mr. or come into contact with Mr. Delaney?
That day, no, I did not.
Do you know if Mr. Delaney was detained?
That day, no, he was not.
Do you know when he was detained?
He was detained the next day.
Do you know who did it?
Who detained him the next day?
Yes, ma'am.
Me and a couple other officers.
So you did come into contact with him, it just wasn't that day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you came in contact with him, what day was it and what happened?
It was the next day, which was the 16th, I believe. 1 second.
Do you need to refresh your recollection?
Yes, I do.
Let me know when you're done.
Okay. Yes, it was the 16th.
So that's the next day?
Yes, January 16th.
Was it in the same location or was it somewhere else?
It was at a different location.
How did you know who he was?
How did I know who Mr. Delaney was?
Yes.
Video evidence.
Now, where you mentioned video, when did you see video? First of all, who had video? Where was video taken?
The previous day, which was one incident that we responded to with Mr. Herbert, they provided officers with footage from the incident.
So the hotel had footage?
Yes, that's correct. And then the next day, which was the 16th, at the McDonald's. Yes, at the McDonald's, they also had video footage.
So he had a second unrelated incident at McDonald's?
Yes, that's affirmative.
Okay. Now let's go back to the hotel. Where is that footage now?
It was recorded and attached to the case.
When you say it was recorded, how was it recorded?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see if it's actually attached. I'm sorry, pictures were taken and uploaded.
So the actual was a video, the video was uploaded or were individual pictures, like still pictures uploaded?
Individual pictures.
And how were y'all able to get those?
From the office.
The
At the
hotel?
hotel. Mm-hmm.
They provided pictures.
I took pictures.
Do you know what happened to the actual video recording?
I'm not sure.
But the pictures you took were uploaded into the system?
That's correct.
That's what you just checked to see?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the incident at McDonald's, was that on video?
Not the whole incident, but Mr. Delaney being there. Yes.
And when you responded to McDonald's, was he still there?
No, he was not.
What happened with him?
I can't hear you.
Objection relevance.
Your question again, ADA Thomas?
I asked the officer what happened to the defendant, and this is a follow-up to him being at McDonald's. She said he was not there, and I asked him what happened to him.
Overruled, go ahead.
So when you arrived at McDonald's, he was not there?
No, he was not.
Do you know what happened to him?
I'm not sure, but another officer came in contact with him based off the description we were giving by dispatch. Mr. Delaney had on the same clothing that was given from the description. And another officer came in contact with him and he ran from the officer.
Who charged him with disorderly conduct?
We did.
I'm sorry, somebody charged him with disorderly conduct? That's not an evidence.
And this is based on what happened at McDonald's, not what happened the day before, correct?
Correct. Two different cases.
Okay. He was detained the next day?
That's correct.
Okay. On the incident that happened between Mr. Herbert and the defendant, did Mr. Herbert provide a description to you of the defendant?
That's correct. And we also seen video footage.
The person that you saw on the video footage on the 15th, did they match the person that you saw on the 16th?
That's affirmative. And he had on the exact same clothing from the day before.
At any point in time, did he make any statements or comments to anyone in law enforcement regarding what happened?
I can't hear you.
At any point in time, did he make any statements to anyone in law enforcement regarding what happened, either at McDonald's or at the hotel involving Mr. Herbert?
No, he did not.
Did Mr. Herbert, and this is going back to the 15th, did Mr. Herbert Smith, did he indicate that he was afraid for his life?
That's correct.
Oh, officer, I don't think we actually got into the details of McDonald's. What exactly happened at McDonald's?
At the McDonald's, the manager from the McDonald's told the officers that Mr. Delaney was sitting in there for about 15 or 20 minutes. And a person came in that I think that he had altercation with before. Mr. Delaney approached him, said that he wanted to fight. And they started going at the verbal altercation, and Mr. Delaney pulled out a weapon.
Was it a weapon at McDonald's? The weapon at McDonald's, was that a gun or what type of weapon?
A gun. I'm sorry, a gun.
This happened at McDonald's?
Yes.
After he pulled out the gun on the person at McDonald's, what happened next?
I'm not sure. I would have to go back and look.
When Mr. Delaney was detained, was a weapon found on him?
No, it was not. In the video, Mr. Delaney had a bag, and once we detained him, he did not have the bag anymore.
And this was on the 16th?
That's correct.
The incident that happened at McDonald's, do you know if there were any witnesses available or on scene?
The workers from the McDonald's.
They saw and heard the confrontation between the defendant and the other customer?
Yes. And they said that he was also using vulgar language to them as well.
He cursed out the people at McDonald's too?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to identify a victim, the other person that Mr. Delaney had the altercation with at the scene?
No, I did not. The victim left.
And I believe, oh, one more thing. Officer, are you on a cell phone or you on a laptop?
I'm on a cell phone.
Okay. But you saw the person who had the altercations on the 15th and the 16th?
Saw which person?
Mr. Delaney, you've seen him in person, not just on a picture.
On the 15th, I seen him on video, and the 16th, I seen him in person.
Okay. And did all of this occur in Clayton County?
That's correct.
Do you recall the address specifically of the McDonald's, the incident that happened on the 16th?
6670 Tower Boulevard?
Is that in the city of Jonesboro?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that's all I have reserved right for redirect.
All righty, Cross.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Johnson, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
I want to start with the hotel, if that's good. Keep things in chronological order. Are you good with that?
Yes.
All right, great. So this first person that Mr. Delaney is said to have had an altercation with, that person said that he and Mr. Delaney had had a previous disagreement.
Yes. A week prior.
Mm-hmm. Did he tell you the nature of that disagreement?
No, he didn't go into details.
All
He
right.
just said it was a verbal altercation.
A verbal altercation.
Mm-hmm.
Did he tell you at where that verbal altercation was?
At the McDonald's.
So the person from the 15th said the week prior, being the week of January the 7th or 8th, he was at the McDonald's and had a verbal altercation with Mr. Delaney. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, cool. And he did not go through any of the details with respect to that verbal altercation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Delaney came to him and had his gun, but did not point his gun at him. Is that correct?
That's correct. He pulled the gun out.
Right, he pulled it out.
Mhm.
And the person that that he had this conversation with, where were they at the time that this is occurring on January 15th?
Which person? I'm sorry.
The one that's having the conversation with him on January 15th, who had the prior altercations at the McDonald's on January the 7th or 8th, or that week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Where was he at the time?
He was at the hotel.
Where at the hotel?
In the lobby of the
In the-
hotel, fixing a coffee.
In the lobby fixing a coffee. All right, cool beans. Now, you told us also that Ashley observed this this incident. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ashley was working the front desk at the hotel. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And how did Ashley say she observed? And I'm assuming it's a she. Is Ashley a she?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I didn't mean anything facetious. I just dealt with a Leslie who was a boy. So I want to make sure. And
Yes.
and where is this front desk in relationship to the coffee stand?
It's right next to the front desk.
Right next to the front stand. I got you. All right. So now on this, what did Ashley did you interview Ashley separate and apart from the person that
Yes.
okay, good deal. And what did Ashley say she witnessed, heard, or saw?
She said that she saw Mr. Delaney approach Mr. Herbert and
Mm-hmm.
start a verbal altercation. She didn't say exactly what was said,
Mm-hmm.
but all she said that was they started a verbal altercation. Mr. Herbert tried to walk away. Mr. Delaney approached him again, and she said that he pulled out a gun that had a laser on it,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Okay.
and said that he would Mr. Delaney. She said that Mr. Delaney said that he would shoot Mr. Herbert.
All right. So she said that Mr. Delaney said he would shoot Mr. Herbert, and you believe she indicated that the gun had a laser on it. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Now let me go back to Mr. Herbert. Did Mr. Herbert tell you that Mr. Delaney said he would shoot him, or was that Ashley's statement when you were talking about it earlier? So did
Ashley.
Herbert say it as well?
Ashley said it.
It was only Ashley that made that statement to you.
Yes.
All right, cool. Okay. Now, what was your sense of Miss Ashley when you were speaking to her? Did you find her to be credible?
Yes, I did.
Uh-huh. And what was your sense of Mr. Herbert when you were speaking with him? Did you find him to be credible?
Yes, I did.
Did you question Mr. Herbert as to why he had not indicated that the person who had the gun had threatened to shoot him?
Can you repeat the question? I'm
Did you
sorry.
question Mr. Herbert as to why he did not mention the person saying that they wanted to shoot him?
No, I did not.
All right. So, but Mr. Herbert didn't mention anything to you about the shooting, correct?
No.
That's all from Ashley.
Yes.
Did Miss Ashley say she had encounters with that individual who you would later on arrest? Did she say she had prior encounters with that individual?
No, she did not.
Okay, got it. Did you ask about it, or you just let that go by?
I didn't ask about it.
I got you. I got you. Cool. All right, let's slide on down to the McDonald's, and now we come to the 16th of January. The person who is allegedly involved in the altercation with the person that you arrest, they do not give you any statements at all. Is that correct?
No, they left before we got there.
And have you ever deduced through whatever investigative means you have at your disposal who that person was?
Can you repeat that?
Have you ever concluded, deduced, figured out who that person was that purportedly was in having a conversation with Mr. Delaney?
No, I did not.
All right. The store manager or store personnel at McDonald's, however, said that he was having a conversation with somebody. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the store manager or store personnel say that the individual he was having a conversation with have to say about everything?
She didn't speak for the individual that Ms. Delaney was having a conversation with, but she spoke on the incident that she saw.
All right. So she saw an incident. Did she hear the incident?
Yes.
All right. And you say that there was some vulgarity involved in this conversation. Is that right?
Yes.
But so far we don't have a conversation. We just got Mr. Delaney allegedly speaking, right?
Yes.
The person doesn't say anything at all to them, right?
I'm not sure.
Did you question the store worker at McDonald's as to why she knew what Mr. Delaney allegedly said, but didn't hear what the other person had to say?
She didn't say exactly what the other person said. She just said both of them got into a verbal altercation. She didn't specify the words that was actually said.
Okay. All right. So she did hear the other person said something, and she heard Mr. Delaney say something, but she don't know what either of them had to say. Is that correct?
Yes, she said one statement that Mr. Delaney said was that he will blow the victim's head off.
Uh-huh.
And that was all that she told us.
All right. But she didn't tell you what the other person had to say about anything, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, you said also that Mr. Delaney had gotten into an altercation in the McDonald's on a prior occasion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did this same worker give you that information as well?
No, she did not.
Okay. Did she say who was the primary aggressor in the situation on the 16th?
Mr. David.
Mr. David. So Mr. David stood up and whatever, had something to say, and in the midst of saying whatever he had to say, he said, "I'll blow the person's head off," right?
That's correct.
And then what happened with the person?
The person that he was talking to,
Yeah,
they left.
they left. All right, cool. All right, and no blowing of the head off of anybody occurred. Is that right?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you find any discharged weapons anywhere around the McDonald's or any evidence of discharge?
No, we did not.
Okay. Did you had an opportunity to see a video at McDonald's, right?
Yes.
All right. In the video, are you able to see the altercation as well?
No.
The individuals weren't on the video?
The whole altercation? No,
No,
the whole
any part,
altercation.
any part of it.
Oh, well, the part where we saw on video was Mr. Delaney approaching the counter
Yes.
and saying something to the staff, and then he walked away.
And then he walked away. So you don't see any encounter that is described by the worker at the McDonald's. Is that right?
No, we did not.
Did the McDonald's have a camera that showed the area where the alleged altercation took place?
No, they did not.
Ah, I see. I see. Um, okay. Let's go back to the footage at the office of the hotel. You are able to see that footage there and take your own pictures, correct?
Yes, the whole incident.
You see the whole incident with all of them getting with Mr. Delaney and Mr. Herbert?
Yes.
All right, great. And you see Mr. Delaney pull out his gun?
Yes, I saw it
And
on the
you
camera.
and you see the laser?
No, I didn't see the laser.
Why not? What's your explanation for why you didn't see the laser?
Because in the video, you could see him pull out the gun and have it face down, so it's not pointed upward to see the laser.
All right. Okay. All right. And in that incident with Mr. Herbert, I heard you say the first time when Mr. Delaney approaches him, he approaches him with a desire to fight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then I heard you to say Mr. Herbert walked away. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then Mr. Delaney approaches him again. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And does he have the gun out during the primary encounter or the secondary encounter?
The secondary encounter.
The secondary encounter. And at that time, that is when you're saying that the gun is pointed down. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, what does Mr. Herbert do?
He stands there going back and forth with Mr. Delaney.
Oh, well, I thought earlier you indicated that Mr. Herbert told you he was afraid for his life. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, but he stayed there going back and forth with Mr. Delaney. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Could Mr. Herbert leave the area?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. But he didn't leave the area.
No, he was trying to.
Oh, he was trying to.
Yes.
Okay. And
But while he was trying to, he was still going back and forth with Mr. Delaney as the elevator was coming.
So he was trying to take the elevator somewhere?
Yes.
All right.
They were standing at the elevator doors.
Did the elevator arrive?
Yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Herbert get on the elevator?
Yes.
Did Mr. Delaney get on the elevator?
No.
He still had his gun, right?
Yes.
Okay. The elevator doors closed.
Yes.
And Mr. Herbert, you can no longer see him irrespective to where he goes. Is that right?
That's right.
And Mr. Delaney, at that point, what happens to him that you can see on the footage?
He walks out.
He walks away from the elevator, or he walks out of the hotel?
He walks out the hotel.
All right, beautiful. All right, Officer Johnson, is there anything else that you need to add to the facts of this that I haven't asked about?
No, I do not.
Okay, wonderful. Your footage, you had your body camera operative from the call out on the first call, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And at the close of that call out, did you preserve your body cam?
Yes, I did.
And you said that your photos were attached or uploaded as a part of your body cam, or they uploaded separately?
Separately.
Understood. And with respect to the second incident, that on the 16th at the McDonald's, you got a call out there. Did you activate your body cam prior to that, or at the time of that call out?
Yes, I did.
And concluding that call out, did you actually preserve that footage, that body cam?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful. And you uploaded that as well, correct? Well, you don't upload it, you just preserved it. That's good enough for me. You don't have to answer that question. Thank you, Officer Johnson. I appreciate you.
All right,
No
any
problem.
direct?
Officer Johnson, I'm gonna try to be as succinct as I can. Mr. Herbert Smith, did he indicate that he had a confrontation with this defendant, Mr. Delaney?
Yes.
Did he indicate that he was in fear for his safety?
Yes.
Was the witness the hotel clerk, I believe, Ms. Barnes? Was she able to confirm the conference? Did she confirm that she saw the confrontation between the two of them?
That's correct.
And parts of that confrontation were recorded on video. You all have copies of those still pictures from the video. I'm gonna need you for the person. Yes. Okay. Next day, incident at McDonald's.
Yes.
It was the 16th.
Yes.
And there is no victim on that one. That victim depart. Well, there is a victim, but you all were not able to get that person's identifying information, correct?
That's correct.
Workers at McDonald's confirmed that this defendant was in fact there.
Can you repeat that?
The workers at McDonald's were able to confirm that this defendant was present at the location.
That's correct.
They're the ones that called it in as a disturbance.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's all I have at this time.
All righty, closing arguments.
I'll reserve.
All right. Attorney Lewis?
Judge, let me talk with Mr. Delaney first, please.
Say that again?
Yeah. Connect me with Mr. Delaney, please.
Do you mean in a breakout room?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, hold on.
Okay, you wanna go into a breakout room?
Yes.
Okay.
Attorney Lewis, you can
Yes, ma'am. I'm doing it
go
on
to
my own. I
room
got it.
2,
Yep.
and then I'm gonna place you in room 2, deputy.
What you trying to do?
Okay, thank you.
All right, can somebody let Mr. Lewis know we need to get moving with our hearing, please?
And I'll try to call him.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm gonna try to call him.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, he said he's on his way.
Thank you.
Officer Casimir. Officer Casimir.
Hey, Judge, thank you for your patience.
All right.
We don't have an argument in this case, Judge.
Okay. All righty. And so I'm gonna bind all the charges over to the Superior Court, Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank
All right.
you.
What do we have ready?
Can
For the
we
next.
call Johnny Goodram? I believe he's Mr. Rogers' client. Officer Stewart.
You said Johnny Goodwin?
Goodram.
All right. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charges.
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right.
Officer Stewart.
Deputy, if you could get Mr. Goodrum, please.
And Mr. Rogers. Officer Stewart.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to work this thing.
But you're there. You can hear us.
Correct.
Okay.
All righty. And where's the jail? Did we lose him?
They might still be in the breakout room, just I forgot to tell them to come over. You want me to go back?
All right, in the breakout room, please.
Yeah, I'll do it. Judge,
Yes.
repeat your ruling, please, in that last case, since he wasn't here.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind your charges over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. And Deputy, if you can get Goodrum, please.
Judge, who was that ruling on?
That was on Delaney.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Delaney, good to go back?
Yes, he is. Thank you.
Am I free to leave?
You are, unless you have
Okay.
something, another case.
No, I don't.
All right.
Right there. Oh, slide it out. So I can see it. Appreciate it. Deputy Jackson. Oh yeah, we good. Fire it up.
All right, now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Johnny Goodram, charged in warrant number 2025 WA 71028, loitering. 2025 WA 71029, use and possession of drug-related items. 2025 WA 71030, VGCSA, Schedule 1. And 2025 WA 71031, driving without a valid registration. 2025 WA 70032, no insurance. Representing the state is 88 Thomas, representing the defendant, Attorney Rogers, your witness, 88 Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Stewart, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence you shall give before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I couldn't hear you, officer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, put your hand down. State your name for the record.
Song Me, Stewart Jr.
And how are you employed?
I'm a police officer with Clayton County Police Department.
Were you so employed in that capacity on January the 20th of 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have occasion to respond to an incident at 3133 Noah's Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in Ellenwood, Clayton County?
Yes.
What brought you to that location?
I was responding to a call for a prowler, somebody malicious. Well, you guys are prowlers, but yes, a prowler in the neighborhood.
Hold on one second. Where's the judge? Judge?
I'm sorry, right here. I didn't realize my camera was off. Go ahead.
Judge, can I ask you to mute the judge? Thank you.
All right.
Now, I believe you testified you responded to a prowling call. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you arrived at the scene?
I arrived on the scene. I stepped out of my patrol vehicle. While walking up to the vehicle, I noticed that the vehicle didn't have any plates.
Okay, wait a minute, back up a second. When you responded to the location, there was a vehicle located there?
Yes, there was a vehicle parked out in front of the residence on the facing the opposite direction of the flow of traffic.
Okay, just for clarification, the occupants of the residence, are they the ones who called?
At the time of me arriving on scene, I was not aware of this, but yes, other responding units determined that they were the ones who called.
So they didn't know who it was in this car parked in front of their house?
That's what they alleged initially, ma'am.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just trying to get straight because I'm assuming you responded to our house. But
Yes,
it wasn't the house. It was a car parked in front of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened after you observed the vehicle in front of the house?
I observed the vehicle in front of the house. I yelled out to the vehicle because I was unable to see who was occupying the vehicle, and it was a call for a prowler. With that, I assumed that somebody would be walking about the home as opposed to being in the vehicle. But for my safety, I checked the inside of the vehicle, but I was still pretty far away. So I called out to the vehicle and asked them to step outside of the vehicle. I guess Mr. Goodram was unable to hear me. So he rolled down the window. I did observe him roll down the window. He said something that I could not understand, and he drove off from that point.
Did you tell him to stop when he rolled down the window, or did you say anything to him after he rolled down the window?
I advised him that I was Clayton County Police, and I asked him to step out of the vehicle.
Did he step out of the vehicle?
No, ma'am, he didn't. I did have my flashlight pointed at the vehicle, so it might have been difficult for him to see in conjunction with me giving verbal commands. But I did call out to him and state that I was Clayton County Police, and I asked him to step out of the vehicle immediately after he drove off.
He drove, is the last part you said he drove off or drove?
He drove away from me.
Okay. What did you do next?
I just called out that he drove off on the radio. He didn't have a license plate, so I couldn't advise radio of the vehicle that he was operating. I told them the vehicle description, but I couldn't give any other verifiable information for the vehicle.
Okay.
He drove in further into the neighborhood, but it happened to be a no outlet neighborhood. So when he drove down, he had to turn back around to go past me. I'm sorry, I'll pause there.
Who?
I didn't want to keep elaborating, and you had further.
No, you're right. You absolutely. So when he turned around to come back, he had to pass you.
Correct. I was still on foot at the time.
Did he stop at that time, or what happened?
No, ma'am, and that was the perfect opportunity for him to observe that I was a Clayton County police officer operating in my official capacity, because he had to pass right by my vehicle to exit the neighborhood.
Is that what he did?
He did pass right by my vehicle, ma'am.
Did you attempt to stop him, or did you just stand there and watch him go by?
Ma'am, we not allowed to get in the way of people fleeing.
No, I ain't saying that. I'm just saying, did you say try to flag him down or anything, or?
No, he was moving at a faster rate than I was comfortable attempting to do anything about. I didn't feel it was safe because I can't on foot determine what he may do in a split second. So I felt it was prudent that I get out the way of him and being a moving vehicle and me on foot.
Was he stopped?
At what point?
After he passed you, you say he left the subdivision. Was he stopped, or how did he end up in custody?
He was stopped. We had another unit responding at the time, and he just so happened to get pinched off at the front of the neighborhood, like literally at the beginning of the neighborhood.
So he passes you, but before he can leave the subdivision, another officer is able to stop him?
Yes, Officer Joseph and his PO, Christopher Lee.
Okay. What's a PO?
Probationary officer, I'm sorry.
Okay. So after they stop him, do they bring him back to you, or what happened next?
No, Officer Joseph called out that he was with the vehicle, and that's when I arrived to the vehicle that he was with, Mr. Goodam.
So you drove up to the front of the subdivision where he was?
Correct.
Did Mr. Goodam make any statements to you?
He did. He made several statements.
What did he advise?
He advised that he was unaware that I was Clayton County Police because the person that he was there to see plays a lot of games.
Okay. And did he advise him anything else?
He stated that he was invited by the person whose home he was parked in front of. At the time, I was unaware of any of this information, and I had to verify it, but I couldn't do so without any other units responding to him.
Were you able to confirm that he was actually there as a visitor?
Yes, ma'am, I was able to confirm.
Now, you have him charged with several drug-related offenses and suspended license. How did all that come about?
While he proceeded to flee from me, for my safety, I wanted to check. I did not an intrusive search, but a pat down to see if he had any weapons. And immediately from the outside touch, I could feel he had objects inside of his pocket. One felt like a knife, which prompted me. It turned out to be a meth pipe. It felt like a pocket knife. I reached there and grabbed it, and it turned out to be a meth pipe in his left coat pocket.
Now, how describe this item? You said it was like a knife. What was it?
It was a cylindrical item. He was wearing a lot of clothing because it was cold that day, so it was thick items, but it felt like a pocket knife. It's a glass tube with a ball on the end of it. It had char on the inside of the ball.
Was any drugs recovered?
Yes, ma'am.
What was recovered?
He had some small crystal-like objects inside of his wallet. because he wasn't immediately identifying himself, but his wallet was present, and inside his wallet he had the meth.
And is that what the little glass pipe thing is used for?
To my knowledge, yes, ma'am.
Have you seen something like that before? The
Yes,
pipe glass thing?
yes, ma'am.
And in your knowledge, training, experience, is that what it's used for?
In my knowledge, training, experience, yes, ma'am.
Now let's back up to the items that were covered out of the defendant's wallet, I believe you said it was?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you all field test any of it?
No, ma'am, not on the scene. I didn't. We're short on test kits. I've been requesting some for the longest now.
How were you able to make the determination that it was meth?
Through my knowledge, training, experience, ma'am.
What happened to the substance that was recovered?
It was entered into evidence at Clayton County headquarters.
Now, you've also charged him with 2 vehicle charges, suspended license, suspended registration, and no insurance. How were you able to make those determinations?
I did a VIN check of the vehicle's windshield VIN, and the vehicle came back uninsured, no registration. He did tell me that his mother just got him the vehicle after he was released from his last stint of incarceration. But I had already checked all the verifying information on the vehicle.
So it had no insurance, no license?
No license plate, no insurance, and no registration, no valid registration.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might be all I have. I need to.
I don't know if this helps, but
I'm gonna object. Yeah, he's not responding to a question. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now, also, you wanted to add something to this. Did I miss something regarding one of the charges?
I'll hold
Object,
on.
Judge. I'm gonna object again, Judge. That's a vague question. Does he want to add something to this? That's a vague question, Judge. I object.
I held off.
Yes. Go ahead and rephrase, 88 Thomas.
Officer, regarding the charges that Mr. Goodam has, is there something you want to add regarding the loitering and the prowling?
Judge, I will repeat the objection. That's the same question. She just said some more words around it, but it's the same question.
No, it isn't, John. I'm being very specific. If he wants to, if I missed something regarding the loitering and prowling, I'm going to ask him that same question regarding all 5 charges, John.
Right, and Judge, what I'm saying is that's a vague question. Did you miss something? Like that's not it's not a question that calls for any particular response.
Please rephrase.
Officer, would you like to elaborate on any of the 5 charges regarding before the court?
I would.
Objection does call for a narrative. It's just you're asking him to just elaborate on something just randomly. That calls for a narrative.
Yes, and then we'll get into it being a narrative as opposed to a very specific question. So you may not want to say all the charges, but 88 Thomas, if you can kind of narrow it down a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to think. Let's do this. Officer, did you further your investigation after making the determination of the vehicle status?
Negative.
Okay. What happened to Mr. Goodam after you determined the vehicle status?
Immediately after I observed the possession of controlled substances, he was taken into custody.
Did he make any more statements regarding the substances that were recovered?
He did, but I didn't need any further investigation on those substances. Another officer Shakima Austin, did ask questions, but that didn't make any input towards my investigation.
Okay. And I believe that's all I have. Reserved right for redirect.
All right, Cross.
Thank you. Officer, you're the lead on this case?
Yes, sir.
And if I understood you correctly, but like, please correct me if I'm wrong. If I understood you, you said when you first arrived on the scene, you didn't know who had called.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Did you at any point ever speak to the people who called?
No, sir. My responding officers did, and they relayed to me that he had been invited to the residence.
Okay. And let me ask you something on direct. You said, let me see how I think you phrased it. You said the callers, I think you said they either initially acted like they didn't know why the person would be there or something like that. You recall saying?
Correct. So they apparently had met on a dating app, and they have a previous, I would say, long-standing relationship because they've been going back and forth, and he recently just was released. Apparently, they've been having some relationship issues, and they were on odds. But immediately, Mr. Goodram did inform me that he was invited to that location after he was taken into custody.
Let me ask, I guess, a couple. Going back to the people who, I guess you said, were I guess, the homeowners, the occupants for the home, I'll put it like that.
Yes, sir.
So when did you get that information that you just discussed?
About 20 minutes in to his detention, and I would say further custody.
And let's kind of go back a second just for a couple of things. Number one, you did a report in this case?
Yes, sir.
And as far as you know, is there a body cam video of everything, at least your body cam? Was it functional, all of that at the time?
Yes, sir. And my car camera was activated as well, sir.
Cool, that was my next question. At the time you arrived, what information did you have? Like, what had you been dispatched to as far as you understood it to be?
So I had, as far as the call is concerned, zero verifiable information. They didn't have any description of the vehicle. They didn't have any description of the person. They just said a prowler at this location, which is why I approached it as I did.
Had they even mentioned the vehicle as far as you knew?
They did mention somebody was parked outside, but they didn't say what type of vehicle.
And then
that I can recall. I'm not looking at the report. I'm going off memory.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm just go ahead. Did you say you didn't recall? Or I just said I kind of talked over you.
No, I apologize, sir. I'm saying that I'm not looking at the report as it stands, so I don't recall them giving any description of the vehicle or the person. But as far as I remember, there was none.
Okay. Yeah, no, that wasn't. Yeah, you're good. That wasn't gonna be my next question or anything. So let me ask. I guess when you pull up, I was a little unclear. Do you pull up behind the vehicle?
I pulled up behind the vehicle about way policy describes us to do so, a few houses prior, and with my lights off, my headlights off.
Okay.
Oh,
go ahead.
It wasn't exigent circumstances for me to ride with lights and sirens on, but my in-car camera was activated. So it was turned on prior to me arriving without my lights and sirens being on.
Okay. And let me ask, when you say without the lights on, I know y'all can do different little combos with the lights and everything. You just pull up with like just a regular car will pull up though, as far as no other lights on or anything.
I had absolutely no lights on.
And then I think you said on direct, you seem to say, if I understood you correctly, basically you wasn't sure based on the way that you approached it with the flashlight, you didn't know how, and I guess the car being a little bit farther back, you didn't know whether or not Mr. Goodram would be able to see that you were an officer or the car.
By the time that I got to the vehicle, unfortunately for him, he should have been able to see that I was an officer from the point that he seen me and rolled down his window, and I called out to him. I wasn't that far away. But I did, in his defense, I did have my light in his eye. But that was to observe any other occupants inside the vehicle.
Understood. Yeah, no, I appreciate you giving it, the full version of it. I appreciate that. And then I guess it seemed like you thought that y'all might be having trouble. You said that you had trouble hearing him and that you thought he might have had trouble. Was there like something going on like that would have interfered with the hearing? Like what made you have
I got a
trouble
pretty
hearing?
stern, direct voice. I spend a lot of time in the military. When I call out to people, you know that I'm calling out to you. There'll be no misunderstanding when I call out to you. So I do believe that his friends might have been playing tricks on him. But you don't mistake when I call out to you.
Okay, let me be clear on what I was asking about those. You said also you thought he said something, but you weren't sure what he said.
I didn't hear what he said at all. I seen his mouth moving to say something, but I didn't hear what he said.
And that's why I was asking was there something going on as far as any other like sounds or noise or like what was going on?
I don't believe he had any music playing because I didn't hear any music playing. He might have, as he just put his hands up, he might have had it down, but I didn't hear any music playing because I was screaming out to him to get out the car. It's Clayton County Police.
And at the time, so if I understand correctly, he pulls off at that point and then sounds like basically does some sort of long U-turn essentially is what it ends up being.
I
Is
think
that correct?
he might have called a cul-de-sac or something down there, because all the roads down there are no outlet. So
And then when he comes, I know you mentioned he stops at another cop car that is coming into I guess to the entrance of the subdivision. Is that where it's at?
yes, sir.
Okay. So at that point, he doesn't give that car any problems, does he? He just stops for that car.
No, sir. He hops out, hands out. He very compliant. He didn't give no trouble to nobody after that.
And let me ask, I just because I don't want to assume I asked about you pulling up from behind, but you never when you arrive, at no point do you ever pass in front of his vehicle, like the vehicle, your vehicle, or him, or anything like that.
No, he was, like I said, facing the opposite direction of the flow of traffic in front of the residence, and him and my car were facing the same direction, going towards the no outlet cul-de-sac that he may have encountered.
Yeah, and that's what well, not to cut you off, I want to make sure I'm clear on what I'm asking.
Yes.
I'm just trying to confirm, like, there was never a point where your car passed in front of his car before you tried to make contact.
No, customarily we don't pass in front of cars we're trying to make stops on. Sorry, I didn't mean to be facetious.
Oh, no, I think I understand. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So and this is at about 3 a.m, is it, or something like that? I think I saw.
I can't recall the time, sir, but I do recall soon after I was supposed to be getting off. I didn't get off early that day.
When would what time would that make it, at least approximately?
I approximated around 3, 4 o'clock, somewhere in that frame. But I can't give an exact time. I don't remember. I'm not, like I said, I'm not looking at the call. I don't want somebody to say I'm reading my narrative.
No, I understand. And I'm not asking you to pin it down. I just want to establish it's dark, it's nighttime, right?
Correct.
Or early morning, if you want to look at it like that.
Correct.
And so then when he stopped, how long before you get to the location where the stop occurs?
The secondary stop, the stop where he was pinched by my partners.
Right.
Maybe 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Cause I'm still turning my vehicle around.
Gotcha. And so, but you can see where the stop is, like in your rear view, or as you turn, you can see where he stopped at.
No, actually there was another street that prior to the main road of this neighborhood. So he had to make a right to get to where he was stopped. So I couldn't see where he was at.
And then at some point you said you established that you knew you knew he had been invited there or something like that, or you were able to confirm that he had been invited there?
While doing my search for weapons on his person, he did state that he was invited there. And that was prior to him being taken into custody.
When you say that was prior, which part do you mean was prior? Him stating that or the search?
Correct. He stated that he was invited by the people there, but I had already informed him that he had loitered and prowled by fleeing upon the presence of law enforcement.
And so then, so is that what the search is about? When you say you're patting them down, it's because you've arrested them for loitering and prowling?
Yes. That was, so forgive me. That was him fleeing from me, made me cautious, so I wanted to check for any weapons on his person. I had not determined that he was going to be arrested at that time.
And so you're checking them for weapons, and you said you think that you're under the impression that you feel what you think is a pocket knife, you said?
Yeah. I own a lot of knives, so it felt like to me that was what it was.
Well, I guess I don't know if you showed us, could you say that it ended up being a pipe, if I understood you correctly, right?
Yes, sir.
What, and just so I'm clear, what was the pipe shaped like? Like, we talking about like a corn cob, Frosty the Snowman type pipe, or like, what are we talking about?
How would I don't know how I would describe it. Kind of looked for the court.
It's like a Sherlock Holmes type, like one of those curvy ones, like a sex.
No, it looks kind of like a lollipop. It has a tube and then a ball on top of it. For the court, for people who don't know what it looks like, this is the best way I could describe it.
Understood. And so when you say ball, if I understand correctly, then we come up with something that's kind of just a tube straight / round, and then a ball as in it's rounded.
Yeah,
Correct?
cylinder with a spear on the top of it.
Understood.
About 2 to 3 inches long in its entirety. I can't even give a width for it.
Hey, just so I'm clear, I know you said you have a lot of knives. You saying you have a knife that's shaped like a drug pipe?
It was in the corner of his pocket, so I couldn't feel the ball. That's what you're getting at.
So it just felt like a tube, if I'm understanding.
No, it felt like a phallic object. That's about as best as I could describe it.
You have a lot of knives that feel like phallic objects, officer?
Yeah, actually I do.
And just so we're clear, because that still doesn't really give the shape, you still mean cylindrical, correct?
Yes, but again, it's inside his hoodie pocket. So feeling with my hands while I'm wearing gloves.
Did you take your gloves off to feel it before you went into his pocket?
We don't take our gloves off to fill in people's pockets.
No, I'm saying before you went into the pocket, while you were still on the outside, did you
Don't
take
take our gloves off, sir, to fill in people's pockets.
So that's a no? I just want to make sure. I understand you're telling me the policy, but I need to know what actually happened this particular time.
And that's what happened, sir. I felt an object while wearing gloves and through his hoodie pocket.
Okay. And I just want to make sure I'm clear. So you still had the gloves on. Like, there was never a point where you checked it without the gloves on, correct?
No.
No, that's not correct, or?
There was never a point where I checked it without the gloves on my hand.
And then at what point, so after that search, you're saying that's when you confirmed that the reason that he was at the location?
Not after, I believe it was during the search where he was telling me that he was invited there by, I can't even remember the young man's name that he said he was invited by. He said he was invited by that person, and what did he say right after? Oh, he said he was invited by that person, and he did not know that I was who I was. That was his words.
Just so I'm clear, and if you don't know or you can't say, quite as definitively, I understand.
Okay.
But I guess I'm trying to get clear. That explanation and the search, when do they occur in relation to one another? Is it simultaneous? Does the explanation come first? Does it start, like, how does that part go?
It's simultaneous. It's happening at the same time.
And then at that point, once you find what you're calling the drug pipe, I guess that's when he goes into, that's when you put handcuffs on him, or is he already in cuffs at that point?
He's not in cuffs.
So just so I'm clear, because I kind of asked it, I guess
Yes,
I gave
sir.
two things to respond to.
That's why I answered.
Is that when you put cuffs on him? That's what I'm asking.
I put cuffs on him after I finished that.
The search?
Yes, sir.
Now, I think if I understood you correctly, you said that there was no drug test, correct?
No.
And then you said that based on your knowledge, training, and experience, what knowledge, training, and experience were you referring to?
The knowledge, training, experience given to me in the basic mandate.
Okay. And let's be a little more clear. I want to give you a chance to, show off a little bit. What specific knowledge did you have in mind?
Drug recognition.
Okay. And what does that consist of?
In this particular case, a crystal-like substance and the presence of drug paraphernalia with burned residue inside of the ball of the cylinder. So,
okay. So
and his admission that it was methamphetamine.
Well, if I understood on direct, and maybe I've misunderstood this, I thought you said he didn't make any statements after he was arrested that were relevant. You said he had talked to another officer or something, but that didn't say anything relevant.
On direct, I did make that statement, but I didn't need his admission for that based on my knowledge, training, experience.
So when you're saying about this knowledge, training, experience we're talking about, what lets you determine what drug it is, right? You didn't just charge him with possibly some drug, you charged him with a specific drug, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the knowledge, training, and experience that you relied on specifically as it related to distinguishing one drug from another?
Previous arrests, which drug test kits were utilized.
Okay, let's make it a little more clear for the people. What I'm asking is, what do you look at when you see the substance or this pipe, whatever you're looking at? What are you looking for to say that this is meth versus this is crack, for example?
Crystalline substance with powdered residue on the exterior of it from breaking to make more for usage.
We say, okay. On this point,
they snort meth as well sometimes.
Okay. So let me ask, I thought you said there was charring on this one. Maybe I missed it. Are you saying there was crystals on it too?
On the pipe, yes, sir. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yes.
Okay. And so that's what I guess I was just making sure I heard you correct, because I thought there was charring, but did you mention crystals on the direct? If you did, I just missed it.
I did.
You said did or did not?
I did.
Okay. And the crystals that we're talking about, you're saying they're where at? They're on the pipe?
No, the charring was on the pipe and residue. The charring from the lighter and the residue.
And
there was no presence of a crystalline substance within the pipe.
Okay. And so I guess that's what I was asking about, but this still works. It doesn't matter. That's fine. And you're saying that the difference between, say, cocaine, meth.
I didn't mention crack.
Yeah, I'm asking you right now. I'm asking about the difference between cocaine and meth. You're saying that you can tell the difference between those visually, if I'm understanding.
I didn't say that, no, sir.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm asking. When you were talking to us about how to distinguish one drug from another, that's what I'm asking is what do you look for to distinguish one?
I'm going to object now. We've been going on this particular rabbit hunt for about 10 minutes. I believe the officer has answered. He's not a drug analyst. He doesn't work for the GBI. He's basing his observation on his knowledge, training, and experience. We're having questions thrown at him like, how do you tell the difference between cocaine and meth? And this, the officer can only answer based on his knowledge, training, and experience. And I believe he's done that. And he actually broke it down further than I
agree, Adrian Thomas. I agree. Move on. I think that we're going too deep for these purposes.
The last part, Judge, it kind of broke up. You said move on. And what was the last part?
Me?
Yes, ma'am. I couldn't hear the last part of what you said. You said move on to something else.
I said I sustained her objection. I think we're going too deep. I think he's answered the question several times.
And just a couple more questions. Actually, hang on one second. I'm going to be done. No, also, when you talked about him coming back, when you said he was driving back, I guess, towards you from where he was originally, and you mentioned being, I think you said you were on foot at that time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Were you near your vehicle at that point?
I was.
And just to be a little bit more specific, you say near, about how far in it, about how far from it were you?
I believe 5, 10 feet. I was getting close to my car so that I could turn around.
And then if I understood you correctly, you said when you pulled up, you believe a couple of houses between y'all? Is that between you and the other vehicle? I think you said you pulled up about a house or something, the way you said, or two?
Yes. I believe it was like 2, no more than 3 houses. I might have been in between the second and the third house. And I walked up to the vehicle that I saw in front of the address where I had to respond to.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure I was clear. You weren't at the house that he was sitting in front of.
No, that's a little bit of an officer safety issue. If we got a prowler, which is a priority 1 call, it doesn't behoove us to pull up to the house.
Oh yeah, I understand. I'm just making sure that I'm clear on where you were situated, like as far as your vehicle. You weren't in front of the house, correct?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Any redirect?
No, ma'am.
Closing arguments?
I'll stand on the testimony of the officer.
All right, go ahead, Attorney Rogers.
Thank you. Judge, I'll be asking for a dismissal on the loitering charge. For one, the statute, the officer, well, I don't want to assume, I'm not going to speak on this specific officer, but apparently at some point, Mr. Goodam was given an opportunity to explain his presence, or he did explain his presence. The reason I mention that is because one of the things that's a part of the loitering statute is that no person shall be convicted of an offense under this code section if it appears at trial that the explanation given by the person was true and would have dispelled the alarm or immediate concern. That's the last line, is paragraph B of the loitering statute. I should say the last sentence. And that's pretty much exactly what we have here, is that he gave an explanation that, by all appearances, even based on the officer's investigation, he gave it to us pretty straight. That was true. So he wasn't a source of concern on that basis. So for that reason, Judge, I would say that even though, and I understand what the officer, I think, is getting at, in that him driving off like that, I will point out, though, that we're talking about 3 a.m. in Clayton County and somebody is walking up behind you with a flashlight. I can understand why that would make somebody a little bit wary. And that's also part of why I asked about where the vehicle was, because I don't know that it would be clear to Mr. Goodam that the officer is the same person that was approaching his vehicle when he pulls off, if they're not, right at that house. And I understand why the officer ain't there, but it also does leave some confusion available. And so for those reasons, the fact that Mr. Goodam stopped when he encountered another officer, like the officer said, didn't give him any problems or anything like that, and explain why he was there and what he had been doing there. I would say that, I think the loitering is a stretch. So I'd ask that charge be dismissed for lack of probable cause. As it relates to the drug charges, as I was, asked to move on from that, I would point out that that the officer did not drug test it. I wasn't really allowed to get into his knowledge, training, and experience. So we don't really know what that consists of. We can't, if we're just going to accept that a person chants this little magic phrase, knowledge, training, and experience, and all of a sudden whatever they say is the gospel, we might as well do away with a lot of preliminary hearings. Seems like they would need more than that to support it. So for those reasons, Judge, I would ask that the charges related to the drug possession and drug-related objects also be dismissed. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, AD Thomas.
And I'll stand on the testimony of the officer.
All right, so based upon the evidence presented, I find probable cause for everything other than the loitering. So everything else will be bound over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, it appears that Attorney Florio is back with us.
All right.
So state is ready on that one.
We have the officer as well.
Yes, ma'am. He's been here all morning.
Okay.
Mr. Tolles is also with us.
Hold on.
I'm sorry to interrupt, ladies. Are we clear to send Mr. Goodam back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge,
thank you.
Judge,
thank you.
Do we know what happened to the other case that we teed up for, and the officer was not on screen?
I was going to ask about that.
Okay, let me shut up then.
Honor, he's still logged on. I have tried to call him. I have sent him. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if he's in the middle of a call or something, but he's still here. So if we can do a couple of more things, and hopefully he'll click over. I've sent him messages in the chat. It's actually kind of weird. Officer Casimir. He's still logged on. He's still there. But
don't push that button. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I apologize. I didn't realize my mic was open. Who do we need next? I apologize.
And I'm still here, Judge, this is Attorney Taylor. And Ms. Thomas, we still haven't received that consent plea paperwork on Mr. Red.
Yeah, I know. Young, can I get a quick breakout room with you and Ms. Taylor? Actually, probably I should probably.
It's okay. I'm just having to go.
No,
I've got to go to another court, and I just want to let the judge know that whenever we get it, we'll send it in. That's just no problem. I just want to be able to log off of the call.
That's fine. That's fine. You should get it hopefully today.
Yes.
All right, and just make sure you get it in as quickly as possible, please. I
trust Ms. Thomas will get it to me, Judge. That's not a problem. I just don't want to have to.
I just want to let everybody know my legal assistant had a death in the family, so that's what I've been trying to figure out what's going on, and that's what it is. So
I understand. No problem. No problem. Whenever, and like I said, Ms. Thomas is good. Whenever she gets it to me,
I mean that could be a problem.
Okay.
I mean, we just got to make sure it gets done. Our
Yes, yes,
condolences
that's
and
fine.
all, but
I'm just saying, I trusted she would get it to me. I
yes,
just wanted
you're
to
free to,
be able
yes,
to
you're
call
free to go.
my
You're free to go. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ms. Taylor, and I'm sorry for the
Once we
confusion.
get it, we'll send it back.
All
Thank you.
right. All right.
Thank
Your
y'all
Honor,
today.
Judge Case Johnson,
Yes.
I just want to preemptively ask, just in case you're in the middle of a hearing, that I be excused at 1:30.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And have we done all your cases?
We have.
Okay. Well, you're free to go whenever you feel like it.
Okay.
We've done all your cases. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
So we just did Goodam. Who, Attorney Florio, I saw him come in.
And Judge, did I just see Casimir's phone drop off the system?
Yeah, it did. I'm not sure what's going on with him, Your Honor, but he was here.
Okay, just quickly, Attorney Tolles and Attorney Lewis, if I can just get with you guys very briefly, just for just a moment, on Attorney Tolles' case.
And the jail just left too, Judge.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna go into room 2. Attorney Tolles, I'm gonna put you in 2.
Do you need me to go too, Your Honor?
Oh, yeah, you can, yes. That's fine.
Oh, goodness.
Attorney Florio, you announced hearing, right?
I did, Judge, but I wouldn't. Are we off YouTube?
No, not yet. Hold on.